We are here with Nicolas Fines, who is in his final year of master's studies at Faculté John Calvin here in Aix-en-Provence, and just want to get his perspective and his sharing with us about his spiritual journey. So, Nicolas, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So could you tell us a little bit about your background and and your spiritual journey, how God has led you, how you've seen his leading over your life?
Yes. So my parents are in the ministry, were in the ministry. So I grew in a church since I was little. And I saw what a pastor has to do from the inside and the effects on the family. So I didn't want to do that when I was little because I saw my parents, they worked most of the time and uh, yeah, yeah, it was sometimes difficult. But older, I had some small responsibilities in the church, um, most of the time with the younger ones, um, and so I I was involved in my church. Um, but when I was 14 years old, my mother deceased from an heart attack. But it was really a spiritual experience where because I felt during that time I felt the Lord's presence, so that I didn't implode. I remember some members from our church were um, um, sadder than me for my mother's death. So sometimes it was a little awkward. Um, but even if I had this spiritual experience, when I grew older, I distanced myself from the church. I always did all the meetings for young adults, but Sunday mornings I was not really a good a good how can I say that, a good attendee, I think.
Yep.
And when I was 18 years old, after I graduated, um, I went to Paris to continue my education, and I didn't manage to find a church in which I could settle. So at this time, I still believed God existed, but I didn't really practice. I had some meetings with friends. We prayed together, but I wasn't in a church. So it was, yeah. I don't think I'm not proud from this year, from this years. I managed to obtain a master in engineering, and then I created my own company, but it was in something completely different. It was educational video games for children. With my partner, we wanted to, if we were successful, to create um, uh, video games for Christians, for Christian childrens, but we didn't manage to build, to create a viable business, so we had to close the company. And the idea to study theology was always on my mind, but I thought it was for later when I would have a stable situation, and for myself, not in order to become a minister, but for myself. And COVID came. And for me, COVID helped me to reconnect remotely with the church. And so it was a time for me to yeah, to, I don't, how can I say that? To rethink all of that. And so theology came again to my mind, and after some discussions, I decided to begin at the Faculté Jean Calvin, because it was the same faculty my parents did. But when I when I began, I wasn't sure at this time if I was called to be a minister. I just was sure I was called to begin the studies in theology. Yeah,
Right.
and I'm always here, so I decided to stay.
And we're glad. I know your parents, I knew your mom, so it has been a
Mm,
joy to see that that journey that the just a little bit the journey that the Lord has had you on. So
mm,
you were wondering about theological studies, but for you personally. So
mm.
what, and you mentioned COVID. How did that specifically lead you into considering pastoral work?
Mm.
And then specifically, you mentioned your parents went to Faculté Jean Calvin, but what has that been like for you being at the seminary?
Yeah. Mm. I think because I saw what a pastor had to deal between private life and the work and the pastoral work, um, I I wasn't sure I was able. I had
Mm,
the capacities to do that, and I didn't want uh, to do that because my parents did that, and
mm,
just because I wanted to do the same thing as my parent. So it was it was these reasons that made me um, hesitate um, about that. Um, And but I think when I began the studies here in Aix-en-Provence, I think the this idea to maybe I wanted to do the same thing as my parents. It was the first thing that disappeared. Um,
mm,
because I realized so it was during my first year I realized I was really different from my parents. I had different gifts, um, and I realized too that um, I was able to accept my heritage. Uh,
mm,
because one of the reasons I went to Paris to study um, wasn't just because there were in Paris the best school for me for what I wanted to do, but in order to distance myself from my parents because
mm,
I with my parents both in the ministry uh, sometimes I had the feeling that people saw my parents through me, so I
mhm,
wasn't just Nicolas Fines, I was the son of Gérard and Corinne Fines, and I realized then that when I began in Aix-en-Provence that I was able to accept that, and I'm proud of that. Uh,
mm,
Not because it gives me an advantage or something like that, but yeah, because that's who I am too. Um, but I had always doubt if I was capable enough. But the last step happened in my first year too. I was doing an internship in another church in Valence, and I had to prepare a short sermon on the first chapter of the book of Joshua. Um, and there is this passage where Moses is dead, and the Lord called Joshua to be still, to strengthen himself because he will be with him. And
mm,
during the preparation, it struck me that I could have the same trust Joshua could have in the Lord.
mm.
Uh,
Wow.
and I returned to the faculty after this internship, convinced that the Lord called me for the ministry, not because I
Wow.
was capable enough, but because he was with me. I could count on him. So today, I still think I'm not by myself qualified enough. I see other students who are far more intelligent, who know far more things than myself, than I. But yeah, I think now I'm convinced the Lord will equip me, and he does it through my studies in the faculty Jean Calvin, I think.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story,
Mm,
God's faithfulness, and then you embracing that. Thank you for sharing. So you're in your final year of studies at the
yes.
seminary and exploring avenues for ministry, for future service. So what are your hopes for this season? And how can we, as the Huguenot Fellowship, be praying for students like you who are just starting in ministry?
Mm. Even if I'm glad to be a student in the faculty Jean Calvin, uh, I I would like that the studies would be shorter, I think, because it's my final year, but I already had 5 years for my master in engineering, now 5 years um, for the studies in theology. So I want to, I don't know how can I say that. I want to finish that and
Move
uh, at
forward.
at last, yeah.
Mm,
Um, so I think one of the prayer subjects could be that I stay patient.
mm,
I wait the time of the Lord. And I focus on my final years, not by thinking too much about the future, but uh, really, really on the studies. Um, I think, yeah. Another subject could be that I want to work in the I don't know the word in English in the UNEPREF. It's a small union, a small church union in France. Um,
the
Maybe
Evangelical Reformed
yeah,
denomination.
yeah.
Yes.
And it's really it's a small union. It's
Mm,
the church where I grew up, um, and uh, I'm really critical about some things in this union about um, um, yeah sometimes how the church can I say yeah how the church are today with less and less people and um,
mm,
yep. I think it could be good to pray for this for the Reformed
mm,
Evangelical Churches in France because
mm,
um, we are small and but we don't have to think that small is a good thing as if
mm.
we are the rest of the rest the best of the best and stay small. So yeah, I think it could be another subject. Um, yeah, I remember that too. I met my wife at the seminary. Uh, Alors, I have to to say that I didn't come in to Aix-en-Provence in order to find a wife. Uh, I had when I began the studies, I had a prayer for God, saying, "Please, Lord, um, make it that I will be focused on my studies and not on the girls. It's not the time, and so I prayed, please make it that all the girls in the seminary are ugly, and so that I will not have any problems. And the Lord answered, but not by having ugly people around me, but so that I find a wife, so that now I don't have this problem anymore. I don't have to think about other girls, and so I can focus on my studies. Um, but um, yeah, I still have to find the balance between private life and professional life, between the studies, my couple, my church, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
And I think it will be harder when I have a full job in a church. Um, because but I think for me maybe it will be fun or easy, but I know that if I'm not strong enough, if I'm not focused enough, my wife could, and my children, I hope so. If we don't have children now, but I hope
Mhm.
the Lord will bless us with one or more. um, if I'm not focused enough, it could be really difficult for my wife uh,
Mm. Mm.
to 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 make this journey with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great prayer requests for us to remember for patients, for students, because there's such passion in ministry and wanting to fully benefit from this time of
Mm.
preparation that the Lord has for you.
Yes.
And then also the bigger picture as people think about France, to be praying for the denomination, for unity, for encouragement, for wisdom for the leaders. So thank you for mentioning that. The UNIPREF, the National Union of Evangelical Protestant Reformed Churches of France. And then also, in general, we can always pray for pastors in their
Mm.
family, their marriages, their children, as they grow up in the church, but learning about the church.
Mm.
So those are, and also in that context, revitalization of churches. I know that's a big topic for conversations in many areas. So those are really pertinent requests for us to be remembering and praying for as we think of the church in France. So, Nicolas, it has been a joy to be with you
Thank you.
today in the beauty of Provence and thinking of you on the beautiful campus. I saw there was just a focus on the campus of the seminary and with our academic dean. So we thank you and we do pray for the Lord's blessing on your
Thank you.
ministry as you continue. Thank you.
Thank you.